And you are now watching Quiet in the Back.
Yes, we are shutting up.
I'm your host, Patrick William.
And I'm Austin Jenny.
And this week we watched Monty Python.
And the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Yes, classic, dude.
1975, one of the all-time comedy greats.
I mean, everyone that you loved this.
I just read that a few years back, the top 300 comedians were polled by some newspaper or magazine. I didn't see all the details.
Yeah.
Half of the members of Monty Python made their way into the top 50 of all those people's lists. That's the level of like influence.
Dude, that's so crazy. I mean, it's just like they really created a new genre of comedy through a film medium, essentially.
So good.
It's crazy.
Let me just get their names out there before we go blasting into the movie, because there's a bunch of them. It's like a troupe, a classic comedy troupe.
Yeah.
It was Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin.
Those are our boys.
Most
boys.
people probably know like about three of them.
Yeah, I've heard like three of those names.
Yeah, I think like John Cleese is a big one. Terry Gilliam.
Gilliam.
And then Eric Idle, I think, is known by face more than name, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to know those guys.
Hell yeah.
This was avant-garde.
Yeah, really pushing it. They pushed it a lot.
Absurdist.
Yeah.
You would not have any of the modern comedy that you like in the vein of Eric Andre, Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job.
Yeah, Tim
I
Robinson.
think you should leave.
Yeah, exactly.
None of that stuff would exist without Monty Python.
No.
They're the ground level of like Western absurdist comedy.
Yeah, I mean, they fully shaped how we view a comedy now, honestly, especially through the film medium.
And they broke so many barriers and conventions, not just like socially and politically, which of course they did.
Yeah.
But just in the medium.
Yeah.
Like
dude, see
doing the stop motion stuff for the paper cutouts and the stop motion. Self-referencing, like being very meta and having your work reference its own creation, and then like stopping production in the middle to address the viewer and like reference what just happened.
Addressing it by scene 24.
Yeah.
Like, that's so
having
crazy.
the characters kill the narrator because he won't stop talking about the swallows. And like,
the moose.
like that type of stuff. I mean, I'm not a historian of comedy. I was not around in the 60s, 70s, but I feel like these guys did it first.
I mean, if not, then they did it the best and made it the most well-known.
Yeah, definitely the first big public display of this type of meta absurdist comedy.
Yeah, I'm sure they had their own influences and such that we could get into, but that's old news now.
I do know these guys are highly educated.
Yeah.
I don't know all like six of them, but I know some of them went to Oxford, which is I think where a lot of them met was in college. These are very educated men, like educated in things like religious studies, and political science, not theater and comedy. And it's actually like these subjects that pull them in to this sort of format.
Yeah,
because they're capable of critiquing the sort of like society they're in, the power structure, the institutions through comedy in the classic like jester of the king's court way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they just know how to poke the bear, as you said earlier.
Only the jester can speak the truth in the king's court. That's like the old adage. And he's the only one who can say the truth because everyone's laughing and you can sort of sweep it under the rug or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can use comedy to disarm people's quarrels with hearing the truth.
Yeah, I mean, that's really like one of the best ways you can possibly do it.
For sure.
Honestly, tackling things head on, with just like straight protests and such can only get you so far in a lot of circumstances.
Right. I mean, you either go like force and violence or like satire and
culture,
critique and art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they did a damn good job of it.
Dude. It's crazy. I mean, I haven't even seen The Life of Brian and the meaning of life in a long time, since I was a kid. But just through this like small excursion that we've had through the Monty Python, the Holy Grail movie we just watched, it is incredible the way they talk about class structure and power struggle, and just like, no, you didn't.
I love it. I mean, that's got to be my favorite scene.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about it now.
For sure.
You have King Arthur, who's just walking up on some peasants.
Yeah.
And they're just, one of them is just like carrying a cart. He's just like towing a cart. And he approaches him from behind. He's like, old woman. And the guy stops. He's like, I'm a man. He's like, oh, sorry, man. And he's like, my name's Dennis. He's like, well, I didn't know your name was Dennis. You didn't bother to ask.
You could have got to know me.
Immediately, you have this peasant who's like confrontational with the king, right?
The moment it starts.
Because he's not addressing him by his name. He's just calling him by his status or his gender, which is wrong anyways.
Yeah.
Immediately, he's like, I've got a problem with the way that you immediately assess me as your inferior. And he's just problematic right away.
Yeah.
And then he goes into this whole thing about how he's the king of Camelot. He's King Arthur, king of the Britons, all the land.
All the land. All of you.
And the second peasant is like, says who?
Yeah, I didn't vote for you.
I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for a king.
He's like, why not? He's like, that's not how it's done. And they go into this whole thing about how there's no lord in their castle. Their castle is run by a anarcho syndicate of committee members who take 1 week terms as like a captain of the committee, whose decisions have to be ratified by 3/5 of the committee.
Dude.
For civil affairs or 4/5 in external affairs. And
it's so crazy. Just in a field of mud.
Yeah.
And the other lady's like, she's down there, the other peasant, she's just like, oh, some beautiful filth.
Beautiful filth to harvest. Yeah. They're like literally just rolling around in the mud.
Scooping mud and
transferring mud into a basket. And yet they're having like this very high level political discourse about how best to structure your society.
Yes.
And where true power comes from. He's like, true power comes from a mandate of the masses. He's without an educated voting population.
He like, oh my God. He goes and asks him like, well, then how did you get your power? And he's like, well, I received a sword from a maiden of the lake.
Yeah, the lady Excalibur. In the lake gave me Excalibur. He's like, some watery old tart distributing swords. There's no system for governance.
Oh, that's so funny. It's incredible. Dude.
And they just pick apart the entire concept of a monarchy. Yeah. Is essentially what they're doing. Yeah. And they're saying that if you want to govern, you have to have the will of the people. It's just like basic modern best practices towards like building a democracy. Yeah. But they're throwing it in the face of King Arthur, like the legendary English king, right? It makes it so funny. And he's just like, be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
He starts like roughhousing him a little bit. Yeah. He's like, oh, he's repressing me.
Help, I'm being repressed. He's like, come see the violence inherent in the system. You saw him. This is what I'm on about.
This is what I'm on about.
You saw him repressing me.
He calls him a peasant. He's like, oh, not a surprise.
Yeah. That just gets at the root of what these Monty Python guys are all about.
Yes.
They're hilarious, and they're using like just pure comedy, juxtaposing like the absurdness of the time period with the like politics. Mm-hmm. Like no one in rural England at the time would ever have been able to utter the words anarcho-syndicate. Like the fact that these guys are like Oxford educated political scholars, but they're like literally rolling around in the mud is so funny.
Beautiful fields to harvest.
The juxtaposition is classic. But then really also you do have real social critique happening for the people in the theater. Yeah. They're like, oh, power does come from a mandate of the masses. Mm-hmm. The monarchy was a mistake.
Yeah, it's not just like predetermined by God.
Yeah, it is just violence. Yeah. It's just using brute force to control people.
Mm-hmm. Fear.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude. America.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. Just when it's time to riot, just call me.
Just hit us up.
But yeah, that sort of sets the tone for their whole career, honestly.
Yeah.
And before this movie, they had been doing their show. The Flying Circus was on for years before they got into the movies, I believe. And they were known for the absurdist stuff. But I don't know how political they were at the time.
Yeah, it was probably harder. I mean, you were dealing with TV networks, so there's probably a lot more censorship in that sense, too.
They were on the BBC,
Yeah.
and England was a very conservative place in the 70s.
I mean, we should probably talk about how this film got made then, too. I mean, so they got a large portion of their money from this guy named Michael White, who is like a British just producer, and they got like 75 grand.
Just like an independent producer.
Just independent dude. And then also, I wrote the list down. They got
This part's
another $100,000 totaled up between these four bands: Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Genesis, and Elton John.
Love it.
Funded Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's actually a recent development too. One of the guys tweeted about it.
Really?
Yeah, just
That information came out? Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
I know.
Yeah, Monty Python was ingratiated with the British rock and roll scene.
Yeah.
They were known as the Beatles of comedy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels drawn between the sort of musical revolution of the Beatles and English rock in general with what they were doing to the comedy scene at the time.
Well, it's like the exact same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was concurrent, and it was similar too. You had like this really outdated comedy style at the
Yeah.
time. Like if you look at American comedy of the 50s and 60s,
Oh, God, I can't even imagine.
just like Leave It to Beaver, Abbott and Costello.
God, dude. Yeah,
I
like
Love Lucy.
it's always acts and performances like that.
Yeah. And it's not that it's like bad. We're not sitting here shitting
No,
on I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
But it's very formulaic. It's very like within its own structures.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 3-wall sitcom, right?
Yeah.
You never break the fourth wall. You have to play it very straight. The script is the script.
And they also weren't like challenging classical power structure, you know.
I Love Lucy did a little bit.
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know.
Puerto Rican co-host or husband to I Love Lucy was already controversial, and
Yeah.
they did some things in a feminist lane,
Oh, cool. Fuck yeah.
but still, like it was never as overt, and it always sort of was a little bit safe. I
Yeah,
guess
just playing it safe.
Monty Python was, for lack of a better word, a little more punk, a little more edgy, like
Yeah.
just controlling the narrative. You know.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me that like it takes some balls to like go out there and like publish that during that time. You were looking it up earlier. Was it Margaret Thatcher?
No. It was some guy whose name I didn't like. Heath. I don't know the UK.
Fuck them.
I don't know the UK history of politics. So
Yeah,
like
dude.
who was prime minister when.
No, we don't. need
Ignorant
that.
American.
Yeah, clearly.
I don't even know like presidents before like Eisenhower or something.
No, we don't need any of that.
But yeah, it was a very conservative place, a very religious place
Mm-hmm.
in England in the 60s, 70s. Sort of the same in America. You had like the boomers and like the people coming back from World War II, just like
Yeah.
very conservative.
Yeah. Well, I guess like the silent generation, even then, right?
It would have been them, I guess, coming back, or the greatest generation.
Yeah. Whatever. Those fucking assholes, dude.
The boomers were being raised by the greatest generation, I guess. But
Yeah.
the fact
What
that
a
they
shame.
even made it to the BBC,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So was that? I guess we might not know. Was this published through the BBC?
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Is BBC state-owned?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How did that work?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel like there was an element of subterfuge in play, like Trojan horsing it,
Oh.
because it's comedy and because these are 6 like heterosexual white men.
Yeah, all college educated.
They're all from religious families. They're college educated Oxford boys.
Yeah. They're sneaky.
They're hiding in plain sight, right?
Yeah.
These are like the perfect English boys, and they're given license to do this comedy show. And of course, it's going to be good. These are funny chaps.
Yeah.
And you get them on there, and then
I mean, yeah, they did, 6 years of the Flying Circus
Yeah.
before they even touched.
and 80% of that is just like witty,
Yeah.
like meta jokes. It's linguistic humor. It's wordplay stuff. It's not political, but then they'll throw it in.
Yeah, just a touch.
And it's just like throwaway lines here and there, but it gets people thinking. So they're just, I think it was mostly just hiding in plain sight
That's
and
awesome.
using your success as a shield.
Dude.
Right? Like they were gaining popularity And so what's the BBC going to do? Like not put on the most popular young comedy show and give them a movie?
Kind of have to. And then they did that.
Someone else is going to do it. It's a free market.
Yeah. I wonder what the funding looked like for Life of Brian then. Because that's really their most controversial movie.
That was the super controversial one because they
Yeah.
were critiquing organized religion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also, almost the 80s. Is 79 at that point now. And fucking conservatism mixed with religion is in full swing. They have no intention of separating. And guess what? They never did.
They never did.
They never did. And then they won.
Yeah, 1979, you saw the revolution in Iran, the fall of the Shah, who was CIA appointed.
Yeah, fucking great.
When the Shah was deposed, America lost control of Iran.
Yeah.
And got very scared. And then we even got further radicalized in our sector to be more Christian. And you got Reagan coming in 1980 with this coalition. We were reading, there's like a whole coalition of Christians, Jews, and Mormons all like banded together and created these religious groups to protect themselves and their children from Monty Python
blasphemy, dude.
circus, the blasphemers.
And that's the real start of that censorship era, I mean, it's the evangelical right, in all circumstances, the really hardcore Christian of Jew, Jew, Mormon, and Christian, who all elected Reagan together, and then we get this. Yeah,
and in American politics, it sort of did a pendulum swing for a little while, for our lifetimes, from the late 80s through the Obama era. But we did this pendulum thing, left, right, but the entire time, no matter who was in office, we had the religious right wing just brewing in the background.
Planning,
They've been trying to get to where we are now the whole time. It's been a decades-long project. And
50 years, really.
And it dates all the way back to Flying Circus, Monty Python. It's crazy how interconnected and circular everything is.
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk about some of the bits?
Definitely.
There's some incredible comedy bits, separate from politics, just amazing bits.
Yes, for sure.
First one I'd like to bring to the forefront is the coconuts.
Dude, they were going to have horses, but they couldn't afford it.
Their budget was like $200,000 something.
About,
Mostly constituted by like one dude and a bunch of bands. So they did not have a horse budget.
No, definitely not. I imagine that'd be so expensive.
So King Arthur comes riding in just doing this with his arms.
They all
and the guy behind him has the coconuts. And okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
Right. But the real bit isn't that they're doing it. The bit is that the person in the castle addresses it right away.
Right away.
They come to this castle. It's like, who's there? I'm King Arthur, looking for a knight of my round table. He goes, are those two coconuts?
It's like the first thing he says.
He's like, you say you've ridden across the lands with no horse. You've got two coconuts there.
Right there.
And he's like, yes, we found them.
You found them?
Found them in England. He's like, those are a tropical fruit. This is a temperate zone.
Oh my God, dude. They start getting into like swallows and shit, and it lasts the whole movie. They talk about swallows the whole movie.
They get into like the hard science of like, how would you actually find a coconut in England?
Could a swallow have carried it over?
Yeah, it's like an English swallow. He's like, it's not. He's like, it could have grabbed it by the husk. He's like, it's not a matter of where it grabs it. It's a simple weight ratio problem. A 5-ounce swallow cannot carry a 1-pound coconut.
Oh my God. What if two swallows carried it together?
With a string.
Oh God.
They just go so deep into this joke that King Arthur literally just walks away. And the guys at the castle are still trying to do the numbers on could it be an African swallow?
African swallows are non-migratory birds.
It's so funny. That's the kind of like absurdist humor that they were excelling in.
Dude, and it's just like so dry and ridiculous. It's just
just making it work. It's like, okay, we don't have a budget for the horses.
Yeah. But
so then you get the coconut idea. Okay, well, we have a coconut, but King Arthur would never have a coconut. This is a temperate zone.
It is. It's a subtropical fruit.
But then having the characters address that like reality outside of the movie itself is so meta.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy to me.
I've got a list of things that I noticed that were meta. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go through.
I'm sure there were more, but at a certain point, I just started writing them down because I knew there were too many and I was going to miss them all. So the coconut thing being referenced is pretty meta. Yeah. Although technically, I guess you could say that if they were smart enough, the characters in universe could have an understanding, right? So it's not technically meta.
It's on the verge, though, for sure.
But things that were really meta, they're fighting an animated monster in the end.
Oh, yeah.
And then they cut to the animator who's creating the monster and have him have a heart attack. And the monster goes away and the characters escape.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. The police investigation.
Oh, yeah. It's like just never addressed like, at all either.
No.
It just happens.
So at one point, the movie just cuts. Because they're doing this thing with, like, the narrator, where the narrator is breaking the fourth wall. And he keeps addressing the script and the character's choices. And the narrator keeps saying, like, okay, this is scene 24. And our characters are meeting with a man. And so you have this meta narrator, right? And then it goes so far as to cut to a modern day historian.
Yeah, a famous historian.
He's wearing, like, a vest and, like, 1970s clothes.
Yeah.
And he's like, King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like this academic like scene where a historian it's like History Channel shit. But then at the end of that scene, a man on horseback runs by and cuts him with a sword.
cuts his head.
So it's
his
being implied.
His wife like runs over, is like, oh.
Yeah. The wife is, oh my God, she comes from behind the camera. It's clearly like a husband-wife duo, like production team. But okay, so now it's being implied that this modern, like, History Channel program is taking place at the same time as this ahistorical, like, King Arthur
1932 AD.
So you don't actually know if, like, which is out of time.
Right.
Which timeline are we really in and who's anachronistic. But it doesn't matter.
No.
Modern police start investigating the death.
Check him out. They like lay a fucking blanket over his body and shit.
They get like an investigator in like a brown trench coat. And he's like, it's got a notepad. It's just classic detective.
Just tracking them down throughout the
rest of the movie. Occasionally, you'll just see like in the background or in their own scene, these modern policemen like solving the crime.
Yeah, like when they're at the bridge scene and Lancelot goes first, and then finally when King Arthur makes it over, Lancelot's gone and they're he's being strip searched on a police car.
They're like touching his legs, patting him down for a gun. He's being taken away.
Oh my God.
And so much, they go so far into the bit that at the climax of the movie, King Arthur and his army are going to storm the castle of Arg for the Holy Grail. And then two police trucks just pull up, cut them off, and just start arresting King Arthur.
Yeah.
They take him away.
Blanket on his head and throw him in the SWAT van.
And the movie ends. She's like, that's the one, I know it.
I know it's him.
So, yeah.
Crazy, dude.
That's hilarious. It requires, like, a complete disregard for storytelling convention.
100%.
And a willingness to just break all the rules and just fuck with people.
That has to be, for me personally, that is easily the earliest piece of media that does that.
Yeah.
That I've seen,
In my experience as well. There's nothing that I have seen that broke the fourth wall or like was fully meta, breaking its own storytelling conventions. Like,
dude, like constantly, pretty consistently throughout the whole movie.
There very well may have been stuff that I haven't seen. I'm not from the 60s, 70s. But, I think Monty Python is famous for a reason, and they're largely famous for doing stuff like this.
Yeah. it's just so impressive, really. It's like the ability to do that and execute it well and then, like really make still a cohesive story, too, you know, is fucking awesome.
Another one, the credit sequence at the beginning.
Oh my God. I think that might be my favorite part of the movie.
Favorite scene in the movie? Yeah. Not even a scene.
I know.
It's literally just the credits rolling, but then the credits have Swedish subtitles. And the subtitles are clearly a transcription of the conversation being had by the guys who are making the credits.
Yeah. Ugh.
And they're like, should we go vacation in Sweden? He's like, the rivers and lakes are very nice.
See the lovely lakes. And it's like not even real Swedish. It's like some faux Swedish English bullshit.
Clearly fake Swedish.
Yeah.
And then the thing is that like the credits stop. It's like a tape stop sound. It's like, boom. And then a message comes on. And it's like, we're sorry for the malfunction in the credits. The people creating the credits have been sacked. Now we'll resume with the credits again. And
right back into it.
Twice as bad. Yeah. The moose stuff is back. Yep. The Swedish subtitles are going twice as hard.
Yep.
They're actually making their way like into the credits, not just subtitles anymore, but like the credits have like stuff about like the moose choreograph. Moose handler, yeah. Like where they rented the mooses from.
The suggester of the moose's poses. Crazy, dude.
They stop the credits again. They're like, okay, the people handling the sacking have now been sacked. And we're going to a new production team, totally new credit sequence.
So crazy.
It's all going to be better now. And they start back up. Yeah. It is just flashing red and yellow like epilepsy.
Yeah, just seriously uncomfortable to watch.
Very aggressive, like circus music, bordering on like mariachi music.
And now everything is about llamas.
Llamas instead of moose. Yeah. It's just wacky, cartoonish credits about llamas.
Fucking brilliant, dude.
And then, yeah, they just stop and start. They give up on the credits and start the movie.
Yeah.
I just love that they're like, it's not just that the movie is meta. It's not that the characters are referencing their own scenes. Mm-hmm. It's like top to bottom, they're referencing the entire production process of making a movie. As far as like the narrator, the animator, the credit creators, everyone's in on it.
So fucking sweet. Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, dude.
Yeah, because it's one thing to have a character turn and look at the camera and be like, ooh, like wink and, like, for one scene or something.
Yeah.
This whole movie is like, it's rotten to the core with meta comedy.
I mean, the conception of it, like they had to like plan that out before they even started the writing of the movie. You know, it's like, okay, this has to be.
Well, I almost think that like there's like a 2-phase process making a movie like this. Mm-hmm. The first is writing the actual script.
Yeah.
and filming those scenes.
Yeah.
The second process is then going over those scenes and filling in with a bunch of like added bullshit where you've got like the narrator, the animation, the credits, the animator. You're adding things in, transforming what you already filmed.
Yeah.
Some of that, like you said, has to be pre-planned. If the characters in the scenes are going to reference it, obviously they wrote that in. But a lot of it is not actually referenced by the characters all the time.
True.
A lot of it, I think, is just them going over it in post.
Just being like, what else would be fucking hilarious?
Yeah, how do we make this go deeper?
Mm-hmm. Ugh, it's awesome. I will say, I think my only critique is sometimes the length of the bits got me a little. I was like, okay.
I agree. When we got to our scores, that was going to be what I brought up too.
100%.
Which is funny because they actually address that in the movie.
Do they? When?
Yeah. There's this whole bit where one of the knights goes to the castle with the castle anthrax.
Yeah.
It's just populated entirely with like supple young maidens, beautiful women. She's like from the age of 16 to 19 and a half. And they're all just like young maidens who are locked away in this tower. There's no other men. Mm-hmm. And it's like obviously such a great prospect for like a horny man.
Yeah.
And they're throwing themselves at him.
We need to be spanked
and punished.
Spanked and punished.
But there's a point where the woman looks right into the camera and she's like, I really like this scene. She's like, I've liked all the other scenes as well, but this one is particularly good. And I don't think that we're overdoing it at all. It's so well paced and the timing is just perfect. Don't you think?
And they have all those people like from the other scenes.
Yeah, it cuts to all the other characters from the other scenes and they're like, They're like, at least with our bit, we committed to the bit, and it wasn't all just pussy jokes. Yeah. And then it cuts to the other guy. He's like, it's going on a little long.
Yeah, get on with it.
And they're all like, get on. And then it's the whole crowd, and they're like, get on with it.
It even like breaks it in the sense that like some of those characters you haven't even, a lot of those characters you haven't seen them yet. You're just like,
yeah, that's Tim the Enchanter.
And then the creepy old dude.
So the characters are referencing their own bits. They're referencing the length of the scene they're in. Mm-hmm. They're referencing the fact that they are aware that the bit's going on too long.
Yeah, which does make it funnier.
Then they re-enter the bit and it doubles in length. They do another full bit off of the back end of that.
Oh.
And I think that's funny, but I do agree with you.
Yeah.
In actuality, the bits do go on too long.
It gets taxing. It does feel like a few times like they're trying to hit that 90 minutes. You
Specifically in the second half of the movie.
Definitely. The first half is tight.
All of their best ideas, to be perfectly honest, are in the first 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then the second 50 minutes is just like trying to hit the runtime.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely like once they split up essentially for me, like that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. They're trying to fill some shit.
Right.
But
exactly.
They did a good job as far as it goes, you know.
It's still very funny. I'm still like getting a good laugh per minute.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
I'm never just sitting there like bored.
No.
But there are scenes where, okay, I got my laughs out already. And I know there's not any more coming.
No, and there's 2 minutes left on this scene.
Yeah, so there's a couple dull moments that drag.
Dude, that witch scene is so fucking funny, dude.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that one until just now. That's so good.
The peasants drag this woman up in front of the I don't know, like Inquisitor. He's just like the lead knight.
Yeah, he's just a knight standing there.
He's just like actually when they pull the witch up to him, he's actually weighing a coconut and he has a string attached to the coconut with a swallow and he's like doing measurements, which is just a continuation of the joke from before.
Yeah, never addressed either.
Yeah, he can't let it go. It's like, how did that coconut get here? But they bring the witch to him and they want to kill her.
Yeah, they want
and
to
he's
burn
like, how do you know she's a witch? And they obviously
she looks like one.
Yeah, she's dressed like one. And the woman's like, they dress me like this, and this isn't my nose, it's a false one. And she pulls the nose off. It's clearly a carrot they've taped to her face, like with string or whatever. And he does this whole like backwards logic thing, like complete lack of logic.
Oh my god.
Making fun of like the thinking style of the Dark Ages.
Mm-hmm. Is she made of wood?
He's like, what do you do with a witch? He's like, you burn her. He's like, what else burns? And they're like, wood. He's like, why does a witch burn like wood? And they sit there for like almost a minute.
Yeah.
Just like scratching their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And then John Cleese is finally like, because witches are made of wood? It's like, yes!
Does she float?
It's like, wood. What does wood do when you put it in water? It floats. It's like, what else floats?
God, dude.
And no one can answer the question.
Until King Arthur shows up.
From the back, he proudly proclaims with confidence, he's like, what else floats? A duck!
Exactly right.
He's like, how fare you, a man of such wisdom and science?
Yeah, dude. They fucking put her on these like shitty ass scales. I gotta say, if they weigh different.
If she weighs the same as a duck, she's a witch.
Yeah.
And then they knock the restraints loose to see if the scale will weigh them. And she does weigh the same as a duck.
Dude, those scales are totally different, too.
And I missed what she said in that moment. She has one line.
I can't remember.
That she utters out, but it's like a really loud scene.
Yeah. No, there's just so much. People are like constantly like, oh, the whole time.
Yeah. But I assume it was something meta because she says it right to camera.
Does she?
Yeah. She like looks at us and she's like, kind of Bugs Bunny, like, okay.
Here we go.
Yeah. But she weighs the same as a duck, which means she's a witch, which means you have to burn her.
Burn the witch. Burn her. Some of those men saying it with such passion was so...
Yeah. I think that's Eric Idle.
The guy right in the right front. Yeah.
He's also the guy who's going on and on about the anarcho syndicate.
Yep.
He's like, see the violence inherent in the system.
The reuse of characters in this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I actually love that aspect of this movie. Mm-hmm. You've got the same 6 guys being recycled into every single scene.
Yeah.
As different characters. But then even playing two different characters in the same scene.
Yeah, like the fucking is that?
It's John Cleese. He plays the Frenchman.
Yeah.
He also plays
Lancelot.
I think,
or Galahad. One of the two.
I think it's one of the two. But he also plays, I think, Tim the Enchanter.
He definitely is
Scottish Tim the Enchanter.
What the fuck is Tim doing? What is this, dude? Dude, just constantly just causing explosions for no reason.
Yeah, dude. They just have him like popped up on a little mountain, like a rock outcropping, and the explosives department is just like triggering fireworks in the distance. And the Enchanter's, he's just sitting up there alone, just blowing shit up in the rocks.
Yep, literally just rocks. Oh, so
And then he blows himself up and reemerges in front of them in a cloud of smoke and introduces himself as the Enchanter. And they're like, "Oh, Enchanter, what name are you known by?"
Some call me Tim.
"Oh, Tim."
Oh, Tim. Yes.
That is such good shit.
Seriously.
Tim the Enchanter, thick Scottish accent. I think John Cleese.
Grail.
You seek the Grail.
The Grail.
John Cleese always did the accents.
Dude,
he did the
he's good at
French,
it.
the Scottish. None of the other guys were doing other accents.
So funny, dude. And then, like, yeah, he doesn't say anything for a while, and King Arthur's like, "I can see you're a busy man."
He's just blowing things up again.
He like takes his staff and like turns it upside down and creates like a fire hose.
It's like he uses it like an RPG at one point. He like swings around, he like shoots a missile out of it, which hits a tree. He's just doing this for no reason.
God damn, so funny. I love absurdist humor. I think it's my favorite, especially through a visual medium. Like, it's just God, dude. Like, Tim and Eric's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, as long as it's done well.
Yeah.
Absurdist
Tasteful.
humor is one of those things that if you overdo it, it immediately becomes bad.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like salt in cooking, where the right amount of it will make everything so much better.
Yeah.
It makes all the flavors come together. But the second that you're over salted, the entire dish is ruined.
Yeah. No, it needs to make it. You have to have some cohesion throughout the things. It can't.
Yeah, you need continuity, and you need the absurdism to actually be funny, not just weird.
Not just absurd. Yeah, that's like the weird level. It can't be too weird.
It can't be too weird. I don't mind when things get weird.
Yeah.
Especially if they're purposely weird, like not on purpose. I mean, like purpose driven. Like, if it's doing something by being weird, that's like elevating an emotion in the scene, like making you feel uncomfortable. Like there's a lot of stuff in Tim Robbins' show. I Think You Should Leave. That's like weird and off-putting, but it's elevating a sense of uneasiness.
It's so
which then they like cut through with like a punchline.
Yeah,
like, that is purpose driven.
Dude, I love that show. I think it's my favorite sketch show.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think I've watched it enough to say.
Yeah.
If it's my favorite, but
for sure.
I mean, Flying Circus is a top tier. Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job, is top tier.
Well, who did Mighty Boosh?
Yeah, Noel, what's his name? And I never know the name of the guy who plays Howard Moon. Mm-hmm. The two of them in the Mighty Boosh is pretty fantastic.
So good. I'm old Greg.
Noel also has a show that's very worth watching about a man running a coffee shop on the interior rim of an active volcano.
What the fuck?
And it's like half live, half animated, like half puppets.
Oh,
like,
strange.
Yeah, very funny.
Fuck yeah.
He's an absurdist legend for sure.
I mean, it's just all so fucking good.
Eric Andre.
Yeah, of course. Ranch it up. Time to make a pizza ball. It's so ridiculous.
But these people couldn't do what they're doing without Flying Circus.
Hell no.
So I feel like they've got to take the #1 spot.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
On the shoulders of giants.
Yeah, as far as that goes, for sure.
But as far as your favorite, probably Tim Robbins.
Probably, I would imagine.
That bit with the dog ears haircut is just my favorite. He gets a new haircut for his date, but it's like hanging down on the side of his head like a poodle's
and
ear.
he can't stop hearing the people talk about it while his date's talking to him. Holy shit.
This shit is so funny.
Dude, that's a really good one. One of my absolute favorites is when I don't know if you've seen it, when he doesn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
I never learned. I don't know how.
So good.
He's in his car driving. It's crazy, dude.
Okay, so I feel like this type of movie does not need or warrant like a plot. Like usually what we do with these movies is we sit here and we run through the whole plot. Then we do sort of like an analysis, favorite moments, etc.
This doesn't need that.
No. This movie does not need a plot run through. The plot is basically just King Arthur searches for the Holy Grail. Funny shit happens in the middle.
That's the whole plot.
It's the whole plot.
It's
just absurd and meta.
Yep.
I think it's much more valuable that we talked about like the political, social satire stuff.
100%.
The formal stuff they're doing with breaking the fourth wall and playing with the credits. That stuff is the real juice.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's just something you need to watch for yourself.
Yeah.
Just enjoy.
All of their movies are worth watching. Mm-hmm. Life of Brian and The Meaning of Life being the other two.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in, I think it's Life of Brian. Whichever one where they're in Rome.
Oof, I can't remember. I was like fucking 15 last time I watched that.
They're in the Roman era. I think it's Life of Brian because it's Jesus the point is that like Jesus is going to be killed by the Romans, right? And they're in like one of the emperor's like rooms and he has all these guards.
Yeah.
And they did this bit. They set the bit up by hiring a bunch of extras to play the guards and not telling the extras what the scene was.
Oh
the
my
extras
God.
have no access to the script.
Like for real?
For real, in real life. The extras were instructed by the boys to stand there silently and not react. And they were told if you break character or laugh or react, you're fired.
Oh my God, that's crazy, dude.
And so you're watching this scene where, yes, the characters are talking to each other, but really the joke is that the characters are looking right into the camera, like at you, the audience, and they're going, watch me break this guy. Right? And so they just like say the most outlandish shit to each other in order to try to make the extras break.
Do they break?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's very funny.
We gotta watch that soon. That's so fucking awesome.
You can't do a scene like that in a conventional way.
No. How would you?
You can't write that. You can only do that.
Yeah, let it happen. You have to let it flow out. And if it works, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's the creativity required.
Hell yeah. Well, shit, man. What would you give this movie then?
An 8.
Yeah, agreed. I think it takes it down 2 points, probably. But
I think
for what it is, it's goddamn near perfect. It's just...
Yeah. I think just the comedy elements alone get it all the way up to like a 7. Mm-hmm. It's very funny.
It is. I mean, constant laughter.
Then the sort of way that they break the mold and like they get meta and they're changing the conventions of the time.
Yeah.
Gives it another point for me. But what takes it down is it drags in the end. Like it definitely just like you're looking at your watch like, okay.
The animation starts being like, oh, okay.
And then just for me, like maybe I'm just like nitpicky or whatever, but small things like camera work and sound design.
Sure.
It's the 70s. Yeah. It's just a little rough. This is low budget.
Totally.
There's a lot of shaky cam.
There's a couple times like seriously out of focus shots.
Out of focus shots. Yeah. Like there's audio where a lot of people are yelling and the mics are almost like clipping. Like it's just getting that slight yelly distortion thing going.
Yeah. But like we said, $200,000 in the 70s.
Yeah.
Forgivable.
But yeah, it drags a little bit of technical problems, but it's revolutionary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a game-changing piece of art.
Mm-hmm. And you can see that with what their art did henceforth.
Yeah. So tip of the hat to the Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Hell yeah.
The Search for the Holy Grail.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah.
Want to get out of here?
Yeah, I think that's probably it for me. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I love this fucking movie.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching all the way to the end and listening.
Yes.
Go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Hell yeah.
Give us a review on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. Like us, share us.
Yes, please. Tap that bell, baby. You'll know every time.
We need all the support and all of the sharing that we can get from our friends and fam.
Yes, please.
So,
hell yeah.
we love you. This has been
Quiet in the back. Shut the
This is medieval England, there's work to be done. Got to build an empire, biggest under the sun. Go ahead, King Arthur, seek that holy grail. For England has no future if by chance you fail. Talking to the public, the peasants work the fields. Anarchistic farmers, voting on new deals. Who the hell made you king? Address me by my name. If you want real power, then you'll have to play the game. It's a mandate of the masses that makes you king. It's not some watery tart distributing swords in a lake that makes you king. It's a mandate of the masses that makes you king. It's not some watery tart distributing swords in a lake that makes you king. Maidens in castle anthrax from 16 to 19. They all just need an able man to give them what they need. Turn and face the camera and address the scene itself. I think this song is going well, I agree this song is upper shelf. Oh, Tim the Enchanter, exploding rocks and ground. He wields a magic staff of fire and moves himself around. He's played by an actor who appears twice in that scene. That's the true illusion magic happening on your screen. It's a mandate of the masses that makes you king. It's not some watery tart distributing swords in a lake that makes you king. It's a mandate of the masses that makes you king. It's not some watery tart distributing swords in a lake that makes you king. It's Monty Python. They invented modern comedy. Oh yes, it's Monty Python. Postmodern geniuses whose minds are free. It's Monty Python. They invented modern comedy.